It's 6:30, and I'd like to call our meeting to order. We're missing a couple members, but they will be along, I'm sure. I'd like to introduce Adam Dupre, who is our attorney, who's here tonight. We've seen his dad and his brother, and we're happy to welcome you. And he's here to help us through any bumps we have tonight. So, are there any citizens' concerns that are not on the agenda? John Lepore asked if he could speak. If anyone speaks, could you come up to the front?
Otherwise, I wouldn't have to use that.
No, I'd like them actually to come up front, because you're addressing the committee and not the community. So, if you don't mind, if you could come up front. Yes.
I don't think I'll need that.
No,
We need to hear you. You will hear me.
Why don't you take it just in case?
Hold on, if you can't hear me, let me know. I taught 7th grade for quite a while.
if there are hearing impaired people, they need that.
Oh, absolutely. Thanks for saying that. I forgot that. This is copies of what I'm going to cover. Should be enough for everyone.
That. I'm gonna pass this down. Has everybody got one? Okay, looks like we're good.
For those of you who do not know me, I am John Lepore. I taught at Pioneer Valley Regional School for quite a while. In fact, I probably had a number of your children. So I'm here tonight to voice some concerns about the citizens from the PVRS Communities Committee. First, exit interviews. Since October 2016, the administration has assured the school committee that a process would be developed for a comprehensive and informative exit interviews. These interviews must include the essential of Pioneer's institutional memory in order to guarantee the following: assure that the core values are maintained and built upon, and create a school climate that preserves continuity in outstanding educational practices such as student-centered learning, reaching multiple learning styles, using a variety of learning models, and interdisciplinary professionalism. These are the qualities that a once nationally recognized school is losing. The lack of this administration's educational experience requires access and utilization of this institutional memory. Please be aware that the following is occurring without serious consideration to preserve what makes Pioneer so special. There is a lack of continuity between the school's core values for democracy, equity, and professionalism, evidenced by teachers as being treated with disrespect, and the lack of a healthy process for change within the school. Exit interviews are absolutely essential. Scheduling. At mid-year, teachers did not know which courses they were teaching until the day before the semester began. Presently, schedule is being turned upside down and planned by an administration that lacks experience. This uncertainty is further jeopardizing the confidence of the students and staff in Pioneer's leadership. Curriculum Personnel Subcommittee. It is the district's policy that every change in the curriculum and personnel must be approved by this committee. How can this committee explain that job descriptions have changed and many highly qualified, experienced teachers have been pink-slipped? Many courses have been changed or added without approval by this committee, and since the Curriculum and Personnel Subcommittee has not met in over a year and a half until this last week, it is clear that there has been no discussion over how these changes reflect the school's core values. The lack of guidance by the Curriculum and Personnel Subcommittee with an inexperienced administration speaks volumes to the Pioneer community. Clearly, the direction that the Curriculum and Personnel Subcommittee is taking could result in the loss of accreditation and cause problems for students to apply to the best colleges and result in a decline in property values for our 4 towns. Other concerns that need to be addressed: the essential elimination of the department heads as chief advisors to the principal, curriculum changes controlled by an administration with little or no classroom experience or an understanding of standardized testing requirements. It will soon be too late. This administration assumes a sort of power that undermines the future of Pioneer Valley Regional School. Thank you very much.
Thank you, John. Are there any other? If you could keep your remarks to like 2 or 3 minutes, because it looks like our meeting will go on until midnight.
So I'm Mandy Boulay. I'm an current 7th grade English teacher at Pioneer. Dear school committee and Pioneer community members, this is my last attempt to bring to light some serious issues that have been going on at Pioneer this school year. I can only hope that my words will be heard and internalized. I am one of 13 staff who have been asked not to return to Pioneer next year, even though I've been at the school for 5 years and have professional status. Before I continue with my concerns, I ask that you carefully consider those teachers whose voices you've heard speaking out over the past year. How many of those teachers are on the list not return? The rifts and non-renewals have been vindictive and based on favoritism. There were teachers who were given professional status by Jean and Ruth months earlier.
We have to stop. You're making specific charges and complaints. These are not general statements about the overall performance of the school or the superintendent. There is a process to do that, but it's not in open session. We're actually violating the open meeting law already with some of those statements. If you have a specific complaint about the superintendent or an action, it has to go to the chair and there has to be an executive session.
Okay.
So if there's sort of a general statement about things that have happened, that's okay, but it can't be this occurred and this is how I was impacted.
Okay, well, my general statement then is that I hope the school committee will look carefully at which teachers spoke out and which teachers were not asked to come back.
Thanks, Mandy.
I have a statement to read. It was drafted by the MTA on behalf of the PVREA union. I apologize for not having hard copies. I just received this about an hour ago. Throughout the current school year, PVREA members, especially members at the middle school and high school, have stepped forth to speak on issues of importance to the Pioneer Valley Regional School community. In doing so, they have developed a growing concern of fear and retaliation by actions of district and school administrators. These actions stifle dialogue in the district about important issues and may have affected the employment of the PVREA members. They create a climate of intimidation and hostility. The PVREA takes these behaviors very seriously as they threaten its members. These behaviors must stop. The method available to the PVREA is to stop and seek redress for these behaviors, is to file an unfair labor practice with the Massachusetts Department of Labor Relations. It is the intent of the PVREA to proceed with the filing of an unfair labor practice charge within the next several weeks.
Thank you, thanks.
Hi, I'm Karen Brownie. I teach special education at Pioneer. I'm actually speaking on behalf of Matt Socher. He could not attend tonight, but he has submitted a letter to Sharon. And did you make copies?
I haven't,
You
I
got
haven't
it?
even seen
Okay.
it.
So that letter is coming to you, to the school committee members, and he asks that you guys just read it to understand guidance's point of view from what's happened at Pioneer. That's all it is.
Thank you.
Hi, Renee Kier, Bernardston, resident and employee at Bernardston Elementary. We, the undersigned, ask that the school committee vote to table the vote on the healthcare statute authorization, item 10, section 5, until such a time that more information regarding any proposed change in health plans is available, gathered, and shared with the members of the school committee and their constituents.
Is there anyone else that cares to speak? If not, we will move on with our meeting.
I've been told, I have it in my favor.
Thank you. I think Ann probably mixed it up and thought it was maybe 7. Not sure. So our minutes of April 27th were included. Has everyone had a chance to review those? And I will entertain a motion as quickly as anybody could think.
I'll make a motion to accept the minutes.
Is there a second? I second it. Thanks, Martha. That's Bill and Martha. All those in favor?
Who made the motion?
Bill and Martha. Second. And I think that was unanimous, was that right? It's putting my head back and forth. Must have been. Okay. Accounts payable and expenditure reports were both included tonight. And as we say monthly, if you had questions, look them over and address Ruth, because she has all the answers. Which brings us to the warrants, and they are here, and I will, yes.
I just had a question on the expenditure report. The bottom figure, that's what we have for the rest of the school year? $197,430.
242,198.48.
Last page.
Last page, bottom right.
No, the very last page. Yeah, that one.
Okay,
Says the grand total there.
so that will take us through
Another month.
June?
Yeah.
Thank you.
I'm shuffling through. Okay, I'm gonna pass these down, and then you can pass them back to the rest of the committee to sign. There is a treasurer's report that is The next in line, can you explain that, or does it not need any explanation?
It does, it's the same, it's just the increasing of the revenues received, and showing you the balance of what we still have to come in, the very right column.
Was there any more word on the Ways and Means Committee for the state for that transportation?
I haven't seen anything come out yet. I know they were talking about 65. I haven't heard the final vote or tally. I hope it doesn't go down that low.
Okay.
That would be
What
very-
was it last year?
Well, it depends on what, I think I budgeted 65 low because I wasn't sure,
Right.
but it came in at like 90 or 80.
Okay.
And now they were saying the highest it would be 70.
Mark?
Paul Mark came to the senior center in Northfield today,
Nice.
so I went to the meeting and I asked him that question. And he did not give, I said, what is the timeline? He said, July 1, you'll know, basically. Right. And he wasn't encouraging or discouraging, so. That's all I know. That's all I know.
He's a politician, he's not.
Thank you.
Gail, can you help us with the lunch report?
Well, clearly the first line shows that you can't catch up with the deficit to this amount, but if you look down the net profit and loss, halfway down the page, this month, most of the schools are showing profit. Which obviously doesn't override the deficit at the top, but
Did Northfield get a lot more products or something in, or why?
they could, and they're ordering. I'm going to check on that.
Yeah. It seems odd that the rest of them are all gaining in Northfield. That's great to see a positive. Fantastic.
I just have
sorry.
a quick question. When we look at the average daily participation down at the bottom, Gail, can you tell me if that's an average of every single day at Pioneer? What, is that by a week, a
Or
day?
the month of April.
May I ask that that get double checked? It just looks wrong.
Yes. And can you, introduce yourself too, please.
Good evening. Mike Townsend, resident of town of Bernardston. I just got a question regarding the budget. In 2011, you were over by $30,460, and now we're at $219,000. How does management allow this problem to reoccur year after year and grow without it being addressed in a reasonable fashion? I can't comprehend how a budget in food services can balloon to that amount without being corrected in the last 5 years. Is there any reason or answer to that? And what is the Division of Local Services, Department of Revenue, recommending in that case?
I think you'll get the answers when I
Address it?
address it, give you kind of the all overview, and then maybe.
Because the last 3 meetings I've been to, there really wasn't any answers on the questions.
Right.
I still haven't seen any postings on the website where there's stuff, information from these meetings are supposed to be posted. That's what we've been told. So maybe you can answer my questions when you address the Department of Revenue's.
Yeah, I think it will, and if you still may have questions, because we're all gonna have kind of questions about it.
Okay.
But, yeah, we're gonna have to do something.
Okay, thank you.
All right, moving on.
This was something David wanted on.
Appearances we have.
Well,
Who do we,
is David,
no, I don't see him.
is he here? He's not here.
David, yes.
He said he was coming later, but I don't know what he meant.
All right, well, we should skip this number one, because that was what he wanted to put in.
How about under appearances? Do we have?
I don't know, we don't have any under
All right.
appearances.
So we're under new business. Good and welfare was brought up by David Young, who is not here. He had something going on prior to, so he'll be coming through the door at any minute. Let's take care of these other things and then come back to evaluation. Does that make sense or not?
No, it doesn't, I'll just do
You
it.
don't
It
care?
shouldn't take too long,
Okay.
no.
All right.
And then we'll just go into the
So,
budget.
superintendent's evaluation was done by the committee a month ago. And Robin and I met one evening a week or so ago, I think. And we went through everybody's evaluation, and Robin and her calculator sort of correlated everything, and we put all the numbers in and jockeyed them around, and Robin has papers to pass out to us. And I also have all the comments that were made by committee.
So what I did, because I thought it would be helpful. Sorry. There is a microphone there. What I did for,
There you go.
what I did for the committee, because I thought it would be helpful, was after. Is it on? I don't know. Yeah, it is. It's got a green light. What I did for the committee, because I thought that it would be helpful, was I took all of their ratings, it's a 1 through 4 scale, and we collated all of them. We took an average of what the group as a whole was saying, and then I took that and I went to the language of the rubric. And I highlighted what that score correlates with in the rubric, and each of you has copies. Because if we need to discuss this, I think we need to have the language that we're using to discuss it.
Do they need more?
Yeah. Four more. One more? Four more.
One more paper.
Yeah, I bet you do.
Is anybody here?
Save it for David, because he'll be coming. Everybody has one, right?
Does John have one?
Sue.
Two's down there. Two's down
Oh,
there.
right.
David, so she's sitting where David is.
It's for David then.
Two down there. Robin, do you want to read us through this?
As all of you know who went through this, there are 4 indicators, and under each indicator, or there are 4 standard areas, and then under each there is an indicator. And actually within those indicators, so standard 1 is instructional leadership. Within the indicator of within the standard of instructional leadership, there are indicators 1A through 1E. And within each of those, there are actually sub-indicators that we were rating on. So what I have done for you is I've highlighted the language that correlates with the rating that we, as a group, landed on when we averaged the ratings. So for instance, and I don't know if people just want to flip through this first, but if I look at indicator 1A, ensures that all instructional staff design effective and rigorous standards-based units of instruction consisting of well-structured lessons with measurable outcomes.
provides limited training and/or support to administrators, these folks sitting in front of us, to employ effective strategies for ensuring well-designed standards-based units, and that she may sometimes monitor and assess progress, that she provides limited training to administrators on how to establish effective strategies for educators to ensure that educators develop well-structured lessons. And that's where we landed.
Is that mic working right there
I don't know.
in front of Martha? Gail, can you move that mic up?
That's for TV, actually. It's not for here.
Yes, it is for here.
There's the handheld one right there.
Thank you.
Yes.
The group of. Thank you very much.
This is not commentary from the group. This is what we are actually assessing. So we are saying that based on our understanding of the evidence that we have, that we believe that our superintendent is only providing limited training or support to our administrators. In the next element, we are saying that the superintendent may observe principal practice and artifacts, only occasionally looks for evidence of principles are identifying teaching strategies and practices.
Do you want to look at mine? Is mine a better copy?
Yeah, for some reason my printer decided not to print.
Oh my goodness, that one, if you're going to report, you need a printed copy. Here, want to just switch?
It's fine.
Yeah.
It's only those 2 pages.
Okay.
We stated that our administrator may set high expectations for the quality of content of student-wide effort and student work district-wide, that includes the elementary schools, but allows expectations to be inconsistently applied across the district. And we are saying that our superintendent may observe principal practice, but only occasionally looks for evidence that principals are identifying effective teaching strategies and practices that are appropriate for diverse learners when they observe practices and review unit plans. As a group, we are saying that our superintendent provides administrators with some formal assessment options and suggests that they coordinate their assessment practices within their teams and include a variety of assessments, but doesn't monitor it. We are saying that our superintendent suggests that administrator teams meet to review data and plan for adjustments, but does not monitor this process. In indicator 1D, our superintendent does support administrators and administrator teams to develop and attain meaningful, actionable, and measurable professional practice, student learning, and district and school improvement goals. That she typically makes at least 3 unannounced visits to each school to observe principal practice every year and provides targeted and constructive feedback to administrators. That she acknowledges effective practices and provides redirection and support for those whose practice is less than proficient. I don't know that we have any principals who are in that situation. That she exercises sound and reliable judgment in assigning ratings for performance, goal attainment, and impact on student learning, and ensures that administrators understand why they receive their ratings. So this is evaluating principles, is what we're talking about right now. And consistently reviews alignment between judgment about practice and student learning data, and provides guidance to administrators to make informed decisions about educator support and evaluation based upon that review. So that, all of that we're saying she does effectively evaluate our principles. In indicator 1E, this is use of data, evidence about student learning. This committee said that our superintendent may work with administrators to identify sources of student learning data, but the data do not provide multiple perspectives on performance, or the analysis is inaccurate. That she assesses school and district strengths and weaknesses using data that are not carefully analyzed, or wrote an unfocused strategic plan. We are saying that she shares limited data with administrators to identify student and/or educator subgroups that need support, and provides limited assistance to administrator teams in using data. This committee as a group, I'm looking at indicator 2A, this is management and operations. Says that our superintendent may establish plans and procedures and routines to guide administrators, but student entry, dismissal, meals, class transitions, assemblies, and recess are not orderly or efficient. This committee says that she develops systems and procedures that result in inconsistent supervision and support of custodial staff, resulting in a campus that is not clean, attractive, welcoming, or safe. This committee says that our superintendent may urge administrators to demand good student behavior, but allows varying standards to exist in different schools, supervises and supports administrators in addressing student discipline and bullying on a case-by-case basis because we do not have a system of procedures or consequences in our district. Looking at indicator 2B, we said that our superintendent leads the recruitment and hiring process but does not identify effective administrators or educators. That she develops only a limited district-wide induction program for new administrators and teachers, and/or consistently implements the district's induction strategy, organizes job-embedded professional development that is not consistently high quality, and/or does not consistently support effective administrators or educators' career growth, and does not establish criteria for the awarding of professional status. Looking at indicator 2C, scheduling and management information systems. That she generally acts to minimize disruptions to instructional time and minimize disruptions and distractions for school-level staff, including principals. That she sets inconsistent expectations for administrator team meetings and/or creates a schedule that only provides adequate meeting time for some team meetings, works to prevent or deflect activities with limited success, and norms for team behavior are unclear. Looking at indicator 2D, the committee said that she may know state and federal laws, mandates, committee policies, and collective bargaining agreements, but inconsistently complies with laws. And generally demonstrates sound judgment reflecting integrity and fairness, with occasional lapses, or does not always protect administrator, student, family, or staff confidentiality appropriately. In indicator 2E, this committee said that she develops a budget that only loosely aligns with the district's vision, mission, and goals, and inconsistently manages expenditures and resources. I'm looking at standard 3 now. Standard 3A may provide some resources and support and make some attempts to welcome families, but does not consistently use culturally sensitive practices or work to identify and remove barriers to family involvement. Engages some community organizations, community members, and/or businesses in annual district events, but does not make efforts to increase their involvement to maximize community contributions for district effectiveness. In indicator 3B, I'm looking at 3B 1 and 2. This is sharing responsibility. This committee said that she asks administrators to identify students struggling academically or behaviorally and/or work with a limited number of families to address student needs, utilizing a limited set of resources, and sets general expectations and provides occasional support for administrators to engage families in supporting their children's learning at school and home, and supporting children with disabilities or limited English proficiency. Indicator 3C. This is communication. May set expectations for and provide limited support to administrators to communicate with families, but does not stress the importance of two-way communication channels. District communication regarding student learning and performance primarily occurs through school newsletters or other one-way media. and may set expectations for administrators regarding culturally sensitive communication, but does not provide support to them. Or occasionally communicates in ways that are culturally insensitive to families' home language, culture, and values. Under indicator 3D, may have systems and support to address concerns with families as they arise, but agreed upon solutions are not always in the best interest of students. Under indicator 4A, this is commitment to high standards. And this committee all agreed, basically, that our superintendent fosters a shared commitment to high standards of teaching and learning for all administrators with high expectations for achievement for all. That she develops and promotes and models commitment to core values that guide the development of a succinct, results-oriented mission statement and ongoing decision-making, and plans and leads well-run and engaging administrator meetings that have clear purpose, focus, and matters of consequence, and engages participants in a thoughtful and productive series of conversations and deliberations, and establishes clear norms for administrative team behavior. Which we previously said didn't happen. Under indicator 4B, cultural proficiency. That she takes pride in having a diverse administration, faculty, and/or student body, but some policies are not culturally sensitive, and/or provides limited resources for administrators to support the development of cultural proficiency. Under indicator 4C, that she may demonstrate adequate interpersonal written and verbal communication skills, but sometimes makes grammatical errors or has difficulty expressing ideas to stakeholders. Under indicator 4D, we're looking at continuous learning. This committee said that she may encourage administrators to reflect on the effectiveness of interactions with faculty and students and to use data and best practices to adapt practice, but does not support administrators in these practices, and that she occasionally reflects on personal practice, sets meaningful goals, and/or researches ways to improve efficiency and practice. And under indicator 4E, shared vision, we said she engages administrators, staff, students, families, and community members in developing a vision focused on some aspects of student preparation for college and career readiness, civic engagement, and community contributions. Under managing conflict, this committee said that she may respond respectfully to disagreement and dissent, but responds inconsistently and does not always employ a non-confrontational approach. That she may attempt to respectfully involve conflicts as they arise, but employs only a limited number of strategies, and employs a limited number of strategies to build consensus within the school and district community with varying degrees of success. So I wanted everyone to understand, and this is why I did it this way, that that is what those numbers actually mean. Yes?
When you say, and throughout this report, you have said this committee.
Yes.
Okay. When you say that, it sounds like each of us at this committee have agreed 100% of the comments that are on this evaluation. And that's, to me, a little bit misleading. Because when you see some of the proficiencies, I know, I've gone through this, pay attention to what you said, and at one point you said all of us, and that would be a misrepresentation. So I just wanted to make it clear that not all the school committee voted the same way, but it's like a statistic.
Mm. For that particular, I believe there was one indicator where a preponderance of the school committee did in fact agree.
Do you have a breakdown of the overall ratings from the committee members?
At the end, was it like an overall rating with 4 different categories?
Yes.
Could you give us how many voted,
Oh, you're asking if I could give you
The summary of the overall rating from the 12 members, what category that
what
they...
each member individually gave.
Right, there's 4 categories, exemplary, proficient, and improvement, and satisfactory. Could you tell us what the breakdowns of those 12 overall ratings
For
are?
each indicator?
The overall rating. There's an overall rating for the whole survey.
Yes, it came up needs improvement. But I have it typed out, but I don't have my computer with me, I'm sorry.
Can you give that to us?
Yes, I can.
Can I ask a question about this that's different than I'm used to? So you, as students, the highlighted areas are not comments that we made. They
No.
are the rubric.
That is
they
the-
are the description
Of the behavior that we were supposed to be
One
looking
time,
at.
we have a hard time hearing somebody when there's 2 people speaking in various volunteers.
Okay. Sharon mentioned about these being comments, which I thought they were at first too.
They didn't say that.
No, I was just trying to clarify in my own mind. I'm not in any way attacking anyone. I just want to clarify in my own mind that the wording that is highlighted is we took an average of all of our comments and it landed on a back sheet.
Right.
Okay, thank you.
So each one of these, Martha, like environment,
These are
the rubric has,
Right.
right, and then
Right,
wherever it ends
exactly.
up, that's what,
So Martha asked for comments. I took everyone's paper and I went through them, and every comment that was made is on this document. It took me one entire day to go through the whole thing because my typing is not speedy. Some of the really lengthy ones I sort of outlined, took the high points, but other than that, everything is exactly how it was printed or given to us. So that way we get an idea of how everybody is feeling. And I took them in no order. I just sort of went through every page and did whatever I did. But that's important to have too. Yes, John?
Is it my understanding that the evaluations are public record and anybody can ask for a copy of the individual's
Yeah.
evaluation and get a copy and read them?
Where should those evaluation papers be held? In the superintendent's office?
It doesn't really matter.
Doesn't make any difference? Okay.
I think they're kept in the records there.
Peter said it didn't make any difference, so. Did you have something to say, Bob? No, it was Lois that had her hand up.
Mind if I stand here and yell at you?
No, yeah.
You can sit, yeah.
Yeah, you could actually sit, yeah.
Okay. From my perspective as chairman of the Northfield Finance Committee, Superintendent Ruth Miller is exceptionally aware of her responsibilities to balance the needs of the district with the financial capabilities of the participating towns. Her communications with our Finance Committee have been exemplary. She is responsive to questions and can explain complex proposals with ease and understanding. The school budget now consumes over 53% of the operating funds of our town, and the increase this year was an approximate 3.8% over last year's assessment. This, of course, is unsustainable, and Ruth is aware of the long-term impact that this lack of financial restraint on the part of the school committee will mean to the support of the district in the future by our taxpayers. School families are now only 36% of our residential tax base. Ruth's awareness of the need for great broad-based community support is obvious in her sensitivity to discussing district needs. Being a school superintendent in a regional school district requires diplomacy as well as administrative skills. We are fortunate to have Ruth working for the best interests of all of our communities and the school district. Lois and Chair of Finance. Thank you.
Thank you, Lois. Scott, you had your hand raised.
Are we taking both pro and con group comments?
As long as they're, Jeff?
Scott Bernardston. I've been a member of the district in many different ways, where it's not. We've got a school district crisis right now educationally. I think that's totally due to our superintendent and the lack of leadership.
This sounds like a complaint.
We have administrators in the high school who can't lead. They lack any experience in the job they're doing. I would suggest that this evaluation, as I listen to it, I think it was right. I would have been a little harsher already, but I appreciate the job you called me to do.
All right, so if there's nothing else from the committee, does any committee members have anything they want to say? Okay, sorry, Peggy, I didn't see.
I'm just trying to understand the process from here. I mean, we don't have a recap of our summaries. We did go through, 1 through 4. I just don't know where we're going from here and what happens next. Do we have a special meeting to address this further?
I think we need to, Ruth, maybe you can help us.
Yeah, I'll be asking actually for the individual reports, and then I'll look at it all in one piece, and I will be giving you back my reaction to it. Okay, both positive and negative, And then I think after you get that piece of that information, then maybe we can have a longer conversation if necessary. To set goals, right.
Right. I do have one further comment, if I may.
Yeah.
I spent a lot of time reading through the Department of Education evaluation of administrators, law, everything. And one thing that I would like to find out is to be rated proficient overall, an administrator shall, at a minimum, have been rated proficient on the instructional leadership standard for administration, which is 1.
So, yes, so Peggy, basically, if we take an average rating across this committee, that neither the indicator 1, neither standard 1, nor the overall evaluation could be considered as a proficient rating. Because, as I read, most of the committee, or the plurality of the committee, I suppose, over most of the indicators felt in the needs improvement on average.
Is that all right? Do you understand that? Okay. Any other questions from committee members?
Not so much question, but I think it bears mentioning that this is just the rubric from the state. DOE is like one tool to help us form our opinion on whether to renew negotiations. And it's one tool, and it's one piece of information. It's not all of it. It's to help inform our vote.
The evaluation is not related to the contract.
Right. Right. There's no connection there.
But the tool of the rubric is what we are actually looking for. That is the standard of behavior that we're looking for, or the standard of action that we're looking for. So, as I said, I mean, when we rate needs improvement, for instance, in standards-based student design, we are saying that we believe that our superintendent, based on our understandings of the evidence, only provides limited training and support to our administrators to employing effective strategies for ensuring well-designed standard-based units.
So with the individual sheets, can I also get whatever other evidence that they, evidence beyond the evidence that I gave them that they might be using?
I have all that. Yeah, I have it all.
That or is the actual evidence? Okay,
Yeah.
perfect. That's fine.
Sure.
The fact that there are other tools out there, maybe we can discuss at the committee level what tools would be available to us if we so chose to exercise those.
Do you have?
No, usually it's just this.
So this is, I believe, legislatively mandated. I mean, just like it is for teachers and administrators. I mean, the Massachusetts legislature passed this as a law. We're required to do this and we're required to use this exact form. We're required to use that exact rubric. So we may want to add other things, but there's no getting around using this. This is the law.
And all of us have had our choice whether we include things that, as we decided where to place Ruth, had other backup information that would make it important to do such. Some people had packets this thick, some of them had 2 pages. It just depended on how people went ahead. And Ruth has requested those, and they're in the bag behind me, so.
Basically, if you're not going to rate proficient, you have to say why.
Yeah.
You have to provide evidence.
And people have done that, so if those papers we will make sure they get to Ruth.
Excuse me, Pat, can I ask one more question?
Sure, you can always ask questions.
About our individual comments that are written here. It doesn't indicate on these sheets which of these standards these comments are referring to. I know last year you had it divided up like standard 1, standard 2.
I just went through and copied off as they were in order.
It'd be easier rather than just look at people's packets.
Not everybody.
They're jumping around in there.
And not everybody lined them up. Some people
No, they
wrote
didn't.
on the backs of pages.
Yeah, I mean.
Okay. No, I know it was a very difficult job.
Yeah,
I didn't know if it was possible to get which one, but that's fine. Thank you.
Yes.
Are we allowed to speak?
Always allowed to speak.
I would like to say respectfully that no one came and sought any information from me at my school and the teaching that we're doing at Warwick Community School. And I know we're small, but we work extremely hard. And I feel that I do indeed get guidance and support and professional development that is helpful to my teachers and myself. And I'm very proud of the progress that the students in my school have made. And I'm sitting here feeling rather dismayed to hear this this racing and what the meaning of it is, as we are in the midst of our evaluation cycle, and I am in the midst of writing all sorts of evaluations, and I take these indicia extremely seriously. I go and visit classrooms, talk with teachers, and collect data on children, and I just haven't had anyone, and maybe you've done this in other schools, I don't know, but I haven't seen anyone at Warwick who has come.
Sue, go ahead and then I'll speak.
Well, that was why at the last meeting I suggested that there were many of the elements of this evaluation that could not be scored without administrator input, and that we would need administrator input to score them. And it was decided by the committee at this point that they didn't want to they didn't want to change the process this year, that it was a little late for that. And so then once that decision was made, I felt like I couldn't individually go do that, even though I wanted to do that, because I recognized that there were many of these things that require that. Many, many, many of them, actually. So I do think that's a flaw in our overall process that I hope we can correct.
would very much welcome. And at least I have invited you all to come to Warwick to see the fine teaching and learning that goes on there.
And I will say, I did specifically reach out to the Massachusetts School Committee folks to say, can I do it? And they said no. If your committee has decided that the process is this, then you need to be in line with the process. So hopefully we can all make a process that feels better.
But I think Ruth heard us at that last meeting, because after probably 3/4 of the people had passed in their papers to me, she sent out a thing that she had got information from all the principals to us. But all of the forms that I got were sealed in an envelope and had already been presented. And our due date was the 10th, and my letter appeared on email on the 10th, which was after a lot of people had turned in their papers. I think there was only 2 that were not given to me prior to that. So therefore, that information, like Sue just said, we were sort of in a vacuum. We didn't know what it was. Martha?
I just wanted to mention to you specifically, Elizabeth, that when I filled out the evaluation and I thought about it and I went through all the materials Ruth gave us, I did include in my thinking process and evaluation what I have observed and know about the Warwick School and about the effect that Ruth has had. Even in my comments, I commented on it. So not completely disregarded, but I know exactly what you're saying.
I would second Martha. I actually was able to get the information that you folks provided in time, but I also know through you and through Megan, who I don't see here tonight, the work that's being done in the elementary schools.
Sure.
I just want to commend you for doing a wonderful job at Warwick School.
I
know that.
I'm not trying to blow our horn or anything else. I'm simply saying that to hear this, it is dismaying and disheartening, frankly, when I would like to have seen more people and had conversations about it, especially those parts that pertain to our principal administrative team and how it works. When we meet, none of you have come to our meetings. So that's all. I'm not asking for anyone's praise.
Yeah, it was unfortunate that the letter from Ruth was untimely or just a little bit too late.
There's not necessarily a time period to, if you get more information, you can consider the information. It doesn't have to be like, all right, it's done now, that's it. If more information comes on, you can, in fact, use that information or choose not to. It's a choice.
I guess everything was sealed, and
well, it's fine.
I just
fine.
didn't realize we could do that.
I'll probably make some corrections when I give you feedback.
That would be nice.
Yep.
All right, so.
Karen
Scanlon.
Oh, didn't see you back there.
I couldn't hear everything, but if you didn't listen or talk to the administrators, can you be clear about how you made that assessment? I haven't heard everything. How did you do the evaluations on those questions about the administrators?
I think a lot of those were left empty because
So
we
if
didn't.
they're empty, then what you might have read there as far as being a needs improvement, some of them maybe 2 people voted on?
Probably more than 2, but there were some that people just didn't vote on.
How can you do that?
In standard 1, there was 1 person who left indicators blank.
When I do
There were 11 people who did.
But so they're not blank.
It was one out of 12.
What was the process for you to say, see, like 4D or 2A or was needs improvement or proficient? what was the evidence? What was the evidence?
Does anybody want to speak to that?
Well, I can say I left them blank. I also said that Ruth provided a self-evaluation to us, and there were artifacts that were indicated that actually weren't submitted to me, and I requested more documentation, but I didn't receive it. So I felt like I couldn't score that indicator without administrator input.
Madam Chair,
Yes.
what training did the school committee have and how to interpret this document and
There.
how to use it?
There has been no training because it isn't available. We, at the very onset, 3 years ago, 3 or 4 years ago when it came out, we had training by our superintendent at that point. But we had no training this year, but we have had in the past. And with the school committee, I'm not sure, when you did your school committee training, did you get any review of the rubric?
Yeah, and there's a really extensive guidance packet from Department of Ed that walks you through the whole process. It's being phased in across districts since 2012, and it's complicated. You know, I think a lot of districts are struggling with this process.
I think a lot of us went, I copied off like 30 pages of this that I went through page by page by page. I'm not sure how many people on the committee are, but I'm seeing Jeannie shaking her head and a few of the rest of us. I think if you're saying it's obvious, you don't realize all the work that has gone into this and how much thought we put into it and how we take this seriously. It isn't a lark, it's a job, and we want to do it the right way. Shall we move on to the DOR letter that Ruth received?
Right, and I think that some of you should have that. The first sheet is Pioneer Valley financial report. And basically, the beginning of it is pointing to the audit letter that we had on FY15. And in that audit report, there were some compliance issues, material weaknesses, which were issues, some that we've already overcome, developed plan to fund the school lunch deficit, there's a significant deficiency, improved time and effort documentation, that's a SPED issue, and we are in compliance and it's completed. We're doing that now. Improve the controls over expending reporting in SPED. That's a compliance issue, and again, we've completed that. Improve controls in treasurer's office, significant deficiencies. We are working on that, but it took us a long time to find a treasurer, and now the treasurer is getting up to speed, so that's coming a little bit slower. Considered cash collateralization. Improve procedures over student activity funds. There's some other issues and prior year's issues, accounting, financial policies, and procedures manual. That was started, but the policy group has not taken that on, and that's an important policy that has to get taken on. The next paragraph talks about the fact that the auditors found a $90,000 overspent budget in FY15, and also $85,000 capital was put in a capital fund, but the revenues for that were put into the general fund. Most significant is the school lunch program. The assistant superintendents made proposals to reduce this $210,000 deficit, but there has not been support to move any of the proposals forward. Attached, you'll find financial information for FY12 to 16. This came from the Department of Revenue. I'll review this with you. So the next sheet, I think, is just a letter from the Department of Revenue Their concern is that the food lunch deficit is growing. We don't have a handle on it. And they say that we should, has a negative impact on the funds available for financing district instructional programs. So again, they've been pushing us to find a way to overcome that deficit. The next sheet there is kind of an overview. So in FY 2012, the beginning balance was $268,584. But it had deficits of $111,264 and a lunch deficit of $20,859. So our certified excess was $136,461. So then when you go to the next FY13, the beginning balance was $308,231, and the deficits were $180,518, and the lunch deficit was $59,369. So now they have excess of $68,347, where they had $136,000 the year before. So now we go to FY14. The beginning balance is $126,848. The deficits are $13,298. The lunch debt is $113,254. And so your excess that you have is only $296. So then come to 15, we start out with $10,927. We have $1,104 in deficiencies, and our food lunch has gone up to $175,531. So we actually had a negative excess, well, a deficiency. We didn't have excess. It was a negative $167,710. So that's where it was that last year of FY15. So the first year I was here, the budget was already made, and we started out with $136,804. We had deficits of $12,772, and the lunch deficit went up to $210,544. So our deficit dropped to $86,517. So essentially, in that first year, we were able to cut the deficit down, but we're still in significant trouble from a financial perspective. So if you look at the next table, what that gives you, it's the same information I gave you, but you can see what the deficits were and when they were spended. So in FY12, there were $132,000 of deficits, you know, all different things. Soda machine, new roof project, there's a list of them there. And then the next, FY13, same thing. You know, you have $239,884 in deficits. And it's accounts overspended. FY14, it gets a little bit better. And then by FY15, it's you're down to, what's happened is I don't really know how these got paid off or how it got moved around. It looks a little bit like the way to get these out was to put it into the food lunch line. I don't know if there were revenues to go back to wipe those out. I'm not quite sure. And then FY16, there's three indicators, a 19, 2 UPK grants and a SPED grant, which I believe those are going to be able to be, we're going back and correcting them. What happens with some of the grants, they go through August. So if it's spent in August, if it's not, but it's actually encumbered from the prior year. So we believe that the paperwork for that is going to be able to be taken place and taken care of that, so it won't happen again. So we're still left with $210,544 of deficiency.
Ruth, can I just ask a question about
Yep.
it's the pre-K and the SPED grants? So what you're saying is because the way that the grants are given in the timeline does not align with the fiscal year.
Right.
That it shows up on here as a deficit. We were granted the money, but it doesn't land in the right part of the fiscal year.
Right, because it should have been in an encumbrance back to that year, and then it would have cleared itself out.
So it wasn't
Right.
put in the proper line,
Correct.
basically, when the money was granted through the grant.
Right. And we've cleaned all those up, so we're pretty sure that at the end of FY17, we're still going to have that lunch program deficit. And we're not, and I don't know if we can be able to get rid of this E&D. Yep.
What does Department of Revenue recommend that you do in that letter?
The department says to reallocate funds, but we don't have any. And they said that letter last time too. We're in a position now that annually we have to take out revenue anticipation notes. So in September, we take out, I think it's like $1 million, $1.3 million, anticipating revenue, and then we come back around the next year now, and we have to pay off that note, but then we take out another one. So it's kind of like, you know, trying to just keep us afloat with those revenue notes.
Okay, so what is the proposed thought process on taking care of it as far as the cafeteria workers are concerned, as far as the cuts there? And what are you going to have for workers at each kitchen in this coming year regarding average daily meal counts versus the cafeteria workers? Because there's some misalignment with the actual numbers that are on the average daily count. Some schools are making a lot of meals, and some schools are making less meals, and workers around after they do something else, and to spread the workload with those workers.
That's a plan, but I think that there's got to be a larger plan. There's got to be a larger fiscal plan. One of the reasons, we have this issue, and one of the reasons what we had to lay teachers off is because we don't have a handle on the money. And we really have to get a handle on the money. We need to have some excess and deficiencies each year, and we have to think of ways that we can maybe improve how we operate, try to come up with more efficiencies. But I think it's going to take a longer conversation and a bigger plan. I think we need to include the towns in the plan because you guys may disagree with that, but I just think everybody looking at it from different lenses, we might be able to come up with something creative. Yep.
Now, on doing the meals, Bernardston is making meals for live, and Norfolk is making for more. Do you actually have a budget numbers that show what you're saving by doing that?
Yes.
And actually have people driving from either Pearl Roads down to Bernardston, and what the savings are doing that, including the mileage travel, and also if somebody was out, actually using the principles of the meals which we have seen, which I don't think is a good use of the resource, using the principles to actually go get meals. You want to be efficient, you want to cut the waste, but I don't see that using principles to go get lunches if somebody's out, or using the person that's subbing for that school in the lunch program, and not expecting to have to go and haul food and have to be able to run a plane. And that just happened last week, where there was dirty back vehicles that was picking up the food. And that goes back to cross-contamination, which we discussed 2 meetings ago. So, I don't know what the savings are dollar-wise in your budget analysis
I think that's right. I mean, we should all look at it, not, go ahead, sorry.
I just think, I mean, if you look at this report, this chart, on the, third page in here, that says excess and deficiency, you can see that from 2012 to 2015, the lunch deficit was increasing by $50,000 a year. And between 2015 and 2016, it was half that. It only increased by $25,000.
Yes.
So there's,
It sounds like you monitor a little bit closely, and we have had that, I don't know, just to have a number of $210,000, you know, I can see why some of the town finance companies have made the recommendation at the meeting back a couple months. I just think that the budget isn't being maybe looked at really that closely when you have something like this happen.
well, I think that is certainly the case that starting 5 years ago, clearly, this problem was allowed to balloon until we got to this point. And now we have people who have at least in the last year made progress on, if not being able to get rid of this deficit, at least reducing the rate at which it is increasing.
Deb, you had something you said.
I happened to have a conversation with a person from the select board about a different matter, but then we ended up on this luncheon deficit. So basically, the thing was, why haven't the school committee from each representative towns come to those town people, the select boards, and tried to hammer out a plan? So there are 2 towns who are waiting for us to come to them. I'm sitting here waiting for a select person to come this way because they brought up a situation that maybe they could help out. So there seems to, I don't know if maybe we don't know our job. So I know the superintendent has put forth a couple of different plans. Gail Healy, assistant to the superintendent, has done the lunch program thing. So there's been small strides trying to make a positive move to get ahead of this. If anybody knows anything about interest and debt and all of that, it accrues rapidly. We did put money in the budget for this upcoming year, I believe, to try to, for the bleed, and that's not going to solve the problem. So I guess the end result is people are still waiting on the school committee, because I was told by the select person that technically it is the town's problem as well in the outcome of money. So I think what we need to do is put a timeline in place. The 3 people per town in the next 3 weeks meet with their select board and their finance committee and come up with some type of a solution that we could hammer out and bring that back to next month's meeting. So maybe we'll get some resolution, a full resolution, or no resolution. But at least we start the ball rolling in a direction of movement of some nature. So I don't know if I have to make a motion to start that ball rolling or not.
I would say if you want to make a motion, go for it. Well, it's committee.
So I'm going to put on the table that I'd like to make a motion for each of the 3 school committee members from each of the 4 towns collectively make an appointment with their respective select boards and town finance committee within the next 3 weeks. Try to hammer out a proposal and bring it back to the superintendent so that it can be put on the agenda for June
22nd.
22nd, I think it's 22nd. Okay. There's a motion, is there a second?
I'll second it.
Okay. Discussion from the committee?
I'd like to comment on that. Michelle had her hand up first.
Let's just see if there's any discussion from the committee first. Okay, I'll take 2 comments. Lois, you asked first?
Yes, all 4 towns, I believe, have just had their town meetings. I don't think there's much extra money floating around. So I'm not sure what results you'll get if you're looking for the towns to come up with a share of the money. Right after town meeting is the 4 times to be looking for money from the towns. That's all.
Well, we can get a plan.
That's what I was going to say, we could still do a plan.
Michelle Russo, Line Finance Committee, that's my point exactly. I don't think we're going to have a special town meeting. We have no extra money in the town. We've gone to our working towns with the budget you asked for. So this is a problem of the school district now. We are willing to talk to the school committee anytime about helping to resolve our issues. You also know we have this art committee. We want to talk openly, honestly, communicate and collaborate with the towns and the school committee. There has to be best practices of other school districts and what they have done with their lunch programs. And that's where I would suggest that maybe the school committee starts looking at other school districts and how do they get a handle on their school lunch program. It's not, I don't believe it is now the responsibility of the towns. This has been going on for years. We have to come up with a solution, and it has to be for the future.
Thank you. Bob, I think you were right. I think this could be a starting point, but let's stop discussion, but let Gail speak because she's the lunch person.
And you've heard me say this before, but in 2008, there was one school when I came to the district that had an $85,000 deficit way back in 2008, and there were other smaller ones. So over the course of the last 8 years, and the fact that the health and nutrition law became a law, we've done lots of analyzing, looking at personnel, looking at lunches served. I have communicated with area food service directors, trying to do similar size. Also have used larger school districts as a collaborative to ask for opinions and information regarding food.
Which month was it that I brought that proposal to you? Since then, I've reworked it with a group of people twice. So there is a proposal that seems to be pleasing to everyone already in the district, and it moves some people around, and it also gives 2 people at Northfield and 2 people at Bernardston. So since then, I've done 2 different plans, and it still saves some money. And we're continuing to look at how we're purchasing things, and there are 2 of us who are analyzing purchasing for the elementary schools right now to make sure that it's consistent and that we buy well.
I just had a comment. I absolutely respect the town officials pointing out that yes, they have already passed a budget and we are not going to get any more money from them this year. But I do think that it's not a bad thing for us to be more collaborative as committee members, because I think our superintendent has done a very good job of collaborating with town officials, but I don't know that all of us have been as good about it. I know I have not. That I listen to you and I see you, but I don't necessarily get to sit down and meet with you very often. And I think that in all respects, that would be a good move for the committee.
So there is a motion by Deb and a second by Commissioner Booth.
It was me.
So, all those in favor of that motion?
Just a really quick comment regarding her 3 weeks, that they're due to open meeting laws, you have to shave 3 days off of that. 72-hour notice for meeting. Okay, that is all.
Our attorney says 48 hours, not 48.
Okay.
All right. We're voting on the motion. All those in favor? Opposed? 6. There it is. You can see you sitting down there. Okay, motion fails.
Guys, honest to God, this is a town responsibility. The school is never going to be able to pay this bill off. We've got to go to the towns. Can't do it this year, but we can make plans that it's got to be part. I don't care whether we pay it off in 2 years. You are never going to be able to pay this bill off.
That's right.
You've got to come up with a plan where you don't add any money to it. So once we pay it off, it doesn't reaccumulate. How do you put cafeteria workers and benefits against the $2.25 lunch program? Come on. You'd be lucky to pay for the propane, the food, the new coffee maker if you got one, stuff like that. I'm sorry.
We didn't vote to never address this again, Bob, so I think in the future we may.
Madam Chairman, I have been coming to this school committee for over 7 years. For the last 5 years at least, I have asked that this school committee address this deficit. Now you've had a motion to include the towns to begin to address this deficit, and you've chosen to not do it. When are you going to step up and realize that you've got to do your job? You've got to think about the whole world, not your little pet peeves. I would ask that someone make a motion similar to what was just defeated, and that you all vote to allow this to go forward so a plan can be made. Unless, of course, you're going to make a plan yourselves and present it to us.
I voted against this because this is the school committee's problem. We could be capable of behaving as if the president, that Northfield Selectmen and Finance Committee at Bernardston were going to vote a $360,000 cut. Had they done so, we would have had to bring our budget into line. We need, at the school committee level, to deal with this. So yes, that's why I voted no. We don't need to kick this down the road to the towns. It's our responsibility to get our arms around the whole situation here and do what needs to be done.
The significant part of this for me is the fact that we haven't addressed our policies. And we've been trying to get through that book, and we're working on some things now, but I think that we need to push aside and make this a priority from a policy perspective. There are policies out there, and we don't have that. Well, that would give us the foundation of what we can and can't do. It helps you, order what we're doing. And you really have to start getting into some of reviewing some of those really important policies. We have a policy meeting coming up. Yep, and we should go on the agenda. Okay.
Point of clarification, Ruth, are you meaning point 9 on the letter, your letter about the accounting policies that haven't been voted and finalized? Is that the policy you're referring to?
No, it was from the auditor. If you look in the auditor's report.
Number 9 on the list.
Yes.
Number 9 on the list.
Yeah, but on your cover letter, number 9, that's what you're referring to? This letter on that? Yes. Okay, I just want to say.
Not number 9 of the policy.
Section.
Excuse me, Beth, and I have one simple question about timeline for Gail's proposals for saving us money on the lunch program. I know 2 months ago he came, he didn't vote. There was a lot of discussion about it. of various problems. And I wondered, now she has other ideas, she said. So will that come before the next month's school committee and we will vote on it? And then it will happen, or how does that work?
I can present it to you. I don't know if it's something that is voted on by you,
That's what
but
I
we can.
didn't remember.
I don't know the answer to that, but I have a proposal that I've run by most of the people, and
You can
it
give us a
seems to
statement
accommodate
on the other
the
one.
serving numbers, and yes.
Okay. Okay, thank you.
Before, would you like to stand again and tell us about your good and welfare agenda item?
Sure. It goes by a number of names, but I like good and welfare. It presents an opportunity for members of this board to express themselves about things that concern them or things that have happened that please them, sort of like public comment from the board. It should not be used to criticize other members of the board. It should not be used to, it would be against open meeting law, to try to reverse a decision already made or to bring something up that's not on the agenda. But we've spent considerable time listening to ad hoc comments from the community. This would present an opportunity for members of the board. And if the board thought might lead to an agenda item at a future meeting.
Would that be like for the good of the order?
Yes, precisely.
So what are everybody's thoughts on this? Do we want to add it to our agenda or not? That's the question. Yes.
I need to see more information and kind of get my head around it a little bit before I
Jeannie?
vote on it.
Well, I would suggest Robert's rules. Consult Robert's rules.
Okay. And if you don't have a Robert's Rules book, go
I
on
have
to
the internet.
Go on to the internet. Exactly. That was what I was going to say.
I have the whole internet.
Come on, we don't all have connection in life, so you can use
That's
another
true.
method.
That's true. Jeannie?
I did not hear at all what what your comment was to David for him when he spoke. So I have no idea what David was talking about.
Oh, this is an agenda item that he wants to put onto our agenda monthly. Did you hear what he spoke at all?
Not really,
Okay.
not clearly.
Would you like to, use that microphone
okay.
and let her know?
Do we need it again?
Yes. Do it again. Play it again, Sam.
This is the same as for the good of the order. You'll find it in Robert's rules. It's an opportunity for members of the board to raise concerns, shout out. It's basically citizen concerns to the board. You can title it board concerns. We can't use it to violate the open meeting law to make, bring up an item for action or try to reverse a decision that's already made, but it would provide members an opportunity to, in a very short manner, say their piece, such as the following we're going to do at the beginning of our meetings.
Thank you, Dave.
Yes.
So let's sit on this for another month, and then next month we will vote on whether we want that included in our agenda. Is that okay with everyone? Okay. The budget. Oh.
I have a question.
Oh, excuse me.
I thought I was asking to have that placed on the agenda, not placed on the agenda for consideration. What is the process for a member to get an item put on the agenda, please?
I don't know.
You would ask the chair. The chair has the ability to put an item on.
I did so.
Yeah.
No, I wasn't.
You gotta read your email.
I read my email. I didn't get it.
I think you need to stop using your personal email. I send emails to your school. I recommend everybody in the community stop using your personal email.
I did not get it through my email. I got it from Ruth, but I did not get it from you.
Can I make a clarification?
Yes.
Once in a while, there's an email that doesn't get sent when you think it does. It does happen, it's probably rare, but perhaps that's what happened. Just throwing that out there, because I've had it happen.
Maybe not spam.
I think you are.
You love it until what? Okay, do we do to budget at this point?
Well, so
Or what do we do?
this was another agenda item that, David, we put the approved budget, and I thought that you wanted it to be on the agenda so that we keep our current budget for FY18 kind of in front of us. Is that right?
Yeah.
So we may not have time tonight, but set aside some time at the meeting to take a look at where our budget is, and any changes that have occurred over the course of time. So I think right now it's, again, we're getting late, but this might be something that we could start out with next month, kind of reviewing where our current budget is. Is that okay, David?
I would like to add it to that. This committee needs to decide what is budget categories that it wants to track and have adherence to, and vote to move money around. We currently have too many line items. And in order to exercise our fiduciary responsibility, we need to get agreement on that. Because what I'm reading here in this package is that somehow we dropped $4 million of excess efficiency in a 3-year period. I wonder if that was done affirmatively or we just backed into it. We don't have to bring it back into it anymore. So.
Okay.
The question was just raised, and I just clarified it with our attorney. If a committee member wants to put something, or a community person wants something on the agenda, they should ask myself whether it can be put on or not, and I in turn talk to the superintendent, just so everybody knows the right. In the past, it has not happened.
Did
and
you
it
say
is
community member or committee member?
committee or community member, either or. But it needs to go through the chair and then to the superintendent instead of superseding the chair. Yes, Robin.
I just want to, for clarification. So there's sort of two different parts to our agenda. There's the kind of standing, like, big outline parts.
Right.
Our Roman numerals. And then there's our sub parts to our agenda. So I'm wondering if this is part of what just happened with the good and welfare piece. Is there a different request to have something added to the Roman numeral part of the agenda than there is to have it added in as something that we talk about on that night?
I don't think so.
Okay.
Not to my knowledge.
No, I don't think so either.
Because I think that might be an important distinction.
I don't believe so.
I think the only distinction would be old business or new business.
No, the question was, I wanted there to be a good and welfare section on here.
He wanted it to be part of our Roman numerals.
Oh, okay.
Because it's on the agenda. There needs to be a distinction between whether we're having an agenda item to talk about whether it should be an agenda item, or whether it's an agenda item to do what that agenda item suggests.
I think when we come back to it for next month, we need to decide that and then decide where the placement will be. Because that's a definite question that people need to know. Doesn't make much sense to have it just once, so.
I guess that's the point, because the Roman numerals tell us what our process is for the night.
Right.
And the agenda items tell us what are the topics that we need to address. And so how do we change the Roman numeral process? Do we have a policy for that?
You should have a policy for your meetings, and there is one.
There is one.
So somewhere in that giant binder.
Kind of a boilerplate agenda.
Yeah.
Yes.
There is.
It is outlined.
And I'm not sure how you amend that, but I'm sure there's a
No
way.
policy.
Yeah,
You do
I'm
your
sure there's
policy
a way.
group. Takes a look at it and see if it's efficient.
Our next discussion is on the health insurance.
Before we get off the budget, can I just ask one question?
Oh, yeah.
David, I thought I had the last budget from February 28th when it was approved and sent to the towns. And then the email I got this May has different numbers in it. And I didn't know, was that because town meeting numbers when they were finalized impacted these numbers?
I can't see how much was the difference?
Well, you can see the different numbers. I have crossed out the old number and put in the new number. And I just was wondering, where did I lose track?
You talked to them. Is this a revenue report or expense report? It's not labeled as
Right. Well, why don't you
Is
and
this
I talk
revenues or expenses? That should be apparent to anybody who looks at it. It's not labeled.
So I believe it's the budget summary.
The only number I carry around in my head is Warwick's assessment.
All right, so I would like to go back to the health insurance.
Right. So we've been asked to vote on these two MGL 32B Section 2123, which would allow the district to implement the process to change, which would allow the district to change health insurance benefits under the statute. The Pioneer Valley Regional School District elects to engage in the process of changing health insurance benefits under MGL C32B, Section 21 through 23. So the
explain, please. Explain, please.
Right. So what this does is it the group that we're with have decided that they want to open up negotiations to maybe change what the benefits or the structure or the payments are for this group. And so by law, they have to, you have to make this notice. They have to let retiree knows if they're in our group. But it doesn't say that it's going to change. It just says they want to convene a meeting to talk about the potential of changing the benefits.
Will this affect current employees and retirees, or
Yes.
just retirees?
No, both.
Everything within our, okay.
Well, some GIC.
What direction do I go? I'll start with Jeannie and work down.
Are they opening up these talks with all of the districts that
In
they
their
currently?
Victoria, yes.
Deb, Sue?
Yeah, I just think we can't vote on something that we don't understand, and there's just not enough information here for us to vote on anything. I mean, I think if they want us to vote on something, they should come before us and explain this.
Well, I think it's just really, this is typical things that happen in the insurance world. And there's a process for you to, they want to negotiate with you. They want to negotiate and find out, make some plan changes. And to do that, they first have to ask you to say, yes, I will like to hear what you have to say, or no, I'm not interested.
David?
That just doesn't make sense.
I have a different understanding of this. I got this same email asking for my town to vote this as first notice to employees that this change might be under consideration. Since the town I work for does not offer retiree health insurance, this was not an issue. This matter is about retiree health insurance. It is not about our current workforce. But there's a legal requirement to vote this, to notify that we may do this down the road. And if we don't vote this now, we don't have the option to do it next time we negotiate a teacher's contract, because the retiree health insurance benefit is a subset of the active teacher contract. So next contract time, we could change the percentage from 75-25 to 50-50, having voted this. And I'm sure that the teachers, we could try at negotiations to change the current teachers, but the initiation from Hampshire Insurance Trust is that each jurisdiction, by voting this, would have the option to adopt it themselves. It's not coming from the insurance trust. It's the insurance trust telling us this is how you could change the percentage on your retirees. And it only applies to jurisdictions, schools or towns who do offer retiree health insurance.
You can actually change insurance features for current and retirees. Once you do the statute, you have the ability to begin the negotiation process, and ultimately there's a mitigation that can be shared with employees if there's a change in the plan. So this is, if you vote this, that starts that process now. Outside of contract negotiations, you have the right to negotiate features of your health insurance plan. So that's what this vote is sort of designed to do.
Robin?
So, just putting this out there, legally, we could vote to adopt this statute. And we could not avail ourselves of that right. I mean,
Yeah.
we could choose not to use it.
That's correct.
We could choose to use it.
The ability to.
It just means that we actually can make changes through
You
negotiation.
have to negotiate, yeah.
And you, at the end, you do have a right, if you start this process, to make changes sort of unilaterally. You have to share the savings, but it does give you the ability to make some changes, and a lot of schools have done this, in our practice. So it's, if you have features of your health insurance plan that change, and that might have happened, maybe your health insurance has changed, and you need to negotiate those changes. You need to go through this process. But I don't know if there's been changes to your health insurance or where this came from.
David?
I move the district elect to engage in the process to change health insurance benefits under Mass General Law, Chapter 32B, Sections 21 through 23.
I have a question before we do that.
Let's do a second, and then we'll have, is that a second? Okay. A couple of statements, and then we're going to vote. I saw one hand up there.
Mr. Russo, I know you're in the audience. Would you be able to speak to this from a teacher's point of view, please? Is this just about retirees, or is this about current teachers? And could you speak about it as to whether this is something that's going to affect us if they start the negotiations now?
With the permission of the chair, I'm not a resident of any of the 4 towns. I'm a representative of the teachers and the paraprofessionals in the district here from the Mass Teachers Association. So if you're willing, I'll talk briefly about it. As our understanding is this, can people hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. It's our understanding that this is not just about retirees, but this is about potentially about all employees who get their health insurance through the Hampshire County Group Insurance Trust. And what this would involve is there is for you to take a vote on a plan or a potential plan. There hasn't been one that's been determined yet. They haven't had that, gone through that process. But they're giving you, I guess, your attorney has said the ability to more or less unilaterally come up with a plan, and it limits your employees' options in terms of discussing the plan. But it can apply to retirees, but it also will apply to your current employees.
Thank you.
And if they do that now, how does that affect teachers versus waiting on that?
Well, they're voting on something that there is no information at this point from the trust about what the plan will be or what the plan might be. They're asking you to go ahead and do this process so that a plan can come forward, but it's almost putting the cart before the horse. You don't have something in front of you that says this is what the trust wants to do. They want you to take this step first, and that's
David, you had your hand raised.
After we voted for this and down the road when we're negotiating, I would be arguing against changing the 75-25 on the current employees, because it would actually cost the district more money. The reason is that when the employer pays health insurance benefits, it's a non-tax benefit.
So we'd actually have to pay the teacher $1.20 in order to get $1 worth of insurance benefit. That is not true with retirees, and the retiree health insurance is killing school districts, killing towns. So I really recommend that we vote for this, give us the option, but I'll tell you, that's my position on current, 75-25. Just teachers and staff, please realize what it's costing your employer. This is very expensive.
I just want to be clear, because I'm now heard two different things. My initial understanding was that this gave us the option, but did not require us to go through any kind of a negotiation with the insurance company if we choose not.
That's right.
Right, that's true.
That's true.
It's not the insurance company, it's the
Please,
employees
discuss
that
the
this
petition?
applies to.
Yeah, what, say that again?
Could you please discuss the petition that was put before you at the beginning of the meeting in regards to this item where you would seek more information before taking it to a vote?
We don't have that.
Up there at the very beginning.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
remember that, but the,
Collaborative, you could seek more information before putting this to a vote. You could choose to do that in the form of constituency.
What?
And the committee
Right.
would begin to be confused.
Yeah, so the person that made the motion wasn't here at the beginning and didn't know about that.
that's right. He didn't realize this was
Madam
him.
Chairperson, was there a favor of the petition?
Okay, yeah, I see it. It's right here.
So maybe we read the petition and make a motion to discuss it?
There's a motion on the floor, and I did not realize what this was. It was put in front of me, but I did not know what it was. So I apologize. We ask that the school committee vote to table the vote on healthcare statute authorization, item 10, section 5, under such a time that more information regarding this proposed change in health plans be available, gathered and shared with members of the school committee and its constituents. And that same thing is on several pages, and they are, I would think from the looks, from different schools.
Madam Chairman,
Yes.
I would concur that you ought to take it. I think you should have chapter 32B, section 21 through 23, and read it. That's what you're adopting. You're not adopting a change in the insurance.
No.
You're adopting
Right.
a part of Mass General Law.
Right.
What does it say?
Bill?
Exactly. We, on numerous recent meetings that we did, we're totally against adopting something on the first time we cited it, first time we see it, and
This is
I
it.
can't imagine, I don't know that much about this, except what I've heard here tonight. So I wouldn't support this at all.
We have sort of a package we could send you
That would be great.
on that, so that's
That'd be great.
I think we could do both.
David, do you want to, David, you made the motion. Do you want to take it back, or do you want us to vote on it and then go from there?
I'd like to vote on it.
All right.
Madam Chairman, may I make one more comment?
You may.
Some chapters and sections, once you adopt them, you cannot get rid of them. And that's why I want you to read it first, unless your lawyer knows the answer to that question.
Yeah.
All right. So there's a motion and a second on the floor. The motion is to adopt. All those in favor? All those opposed? All right.
But we want it on the agenda for next time.
Yes.
Call for abstention, please.
Excuse me?
Call for abstention.
Abstentions?
There's one down there.
Jeannie and Deb.
Yeah, that's what I heard. I'll have to go to the next meeting.
There is a proposed schedule for next year's meetings. I'm sure we all know what we're going to be doing 8 months from now, but
I would think we could
Yeah, I
do
think
one
I'll-
this summer in July.
I think you're right.
I don't know.
Would you,
What are we at?
meeting scheduled for next year?
We're a meeting?
Meeting
Oh, the
scheduled.
post calendar, yeah,
Right.
that's fine with me.
Bill is suggesting we have one this summer. So Bill, what
How
are
about
you?
July 4th?
Bring our firecrackers? Yeah.
The school committee?
Yes.
So that would be a similar date is what we're having now, and I'm not sure what that date is.
I can look
But-
up in a calendar, we need a calendar.
Yeah. It's
Robin's phone's out.
the 20-something or others, I'm sure.
It would be the 20th or the 27th of July.
Probably, which is everybody's
The 20th
desire.
is the third Thursday, and the 27th is the fourth Thursday.
In July?
In
In July.
July. Who's going to be out of town?
Well, we'll get who we get.
Depends on how long the meeting is.
You know, July's the only month we don't meet in.
Exactly. We're gonna put in a meeting. If we don't need it, we can always cancel it.
27th, you're saying?
Yep.
Madam Chairman,
20th or
Yes.
July 27th?
I'd like to suggest a couple changes.
Ask
To what?
do them all.
I think that you should go to Warwick in October instead of in
So November. Switch those two back and
Having gone
forth.
up there,
Yes. Yes.
Will it snow on that night? Could be like
Okay. Shall we do a switcheroo?
I go there in September before daylight saving time ends. But I think you should move that out of the winter time.
Yeah, I think
And
that's-
I think that this meeting in Leiden should be moved because it is very well attended and should be at either at the high school or Northfield or Bernardston.
So maybe we can switch Bern.
Administration causes major traffic issues to get here.
So,
Every year last.
so are you suggesting that when are you suggesting we're in Bernardston, when here and when at Pioneer?
I would put,
Did we pick a July date? 27th.
27. 7.
I would switch this meeting with the Northfield.
Wait a minute, did everybody get the July meeting date?
Okay, Bill, you wanted a July meeting, but you're not gonna be available, are you? Okay.
He just wants
Then-
everyone
then
else to
let's-
go in July.
Let's do it on the 20th, if it really doesn't make that much difference.
Of what month?
July. Because Bill is gonna be biking across country again.
27th? Did we have to vote on
Yeah, he's
that?
going.
Excuse me.
We're changing here, so we'll vote at the end.
Could we possibly schedule it around when an accounts payable warrant would be run? So that everyone is able to sign it and it's all at one time?
And when is that?
That has to be done by the 15th of July.
Okay, so before the 15th,
It would have to be.
all right? That does make sense. So
We're already
when,
meeting on June 28th.
22nd, June 22nd.
okay, so if we do 7 days back from there, it'll be the 13th.
Yeah.
All right, we're backing up. That makes total sense. All right, so Jane, your idea for the moving of the dates?
Move the meeting up here to September.
Which one, Janie, you said?
Yeah,
That's the beginning of school. I'm not sure that that's a good idea.
No,
Just switch the Northfield and the Warwick, what?
We can do the warrants.
Switch Warwick and Northfield location.
Yes,
Yes.
just flip them.
So we're not driving to Warwick in the dark and the snow?
Okay,
Right.
but you had spoken about Leiden.
Then move Northfield and what we can just put in November. You don't want to come up to Leiden in the winter either.
All right,
With
so
all
we,
due respect to everybody who lives in Leiden.
so
Us
do you
Flatlanders.
want to move Pearl Roads and Pioneer?
No, I think.
Wait a minute, this is getting way out of hand, you know, I mean, we're moving dates all over the place.
Okay, let's leave it the way it is, all right? We have July 13th, we have a July date. We're switching Northfield and Warwick. And is that all right with committee members?
Yeah.
All right. So we need to vote on that.
So can we clarify?
July 13th.
October 26th?
Let's let Ann clarify it for us.
So, we're considering right now the 2017
I knew it.
schedule.
Right.
We have a printed list. We're considering
considering adding July 13th, 2017 at PVRS. Is that correct, right?
Yes.
Okay, then we're considering changing Thursday, October 26th to the location to be WCS. And then November 16th to be NES.
Can we
And
just
that's-
check with the principals to make sure they're in agreement with that there's nothing going on? Or?
Wait, there was also a concern about the meeting that we have in Leiden falling in May, when apparently there's a traffic issue.
What? I haven't got that far yet.
Oh, okay.
I thought it was, that was said that we were gonna leave April, May, and June as they were.
We're dropping it. I don't know what that date would be though.
I don't know. All right, why don't we give Pam back what she got, and we'll send it out.
Okay.
And people can make edits after that.
All right.
Why are we moving Leiden? Are we moving Leiden?
No, we're going to stay the way it is for now.
Thank you.
Okay, so there is if we're all totally confused, let's vote on what Ann just read back to us. And Pam is going to fix this like she always fixes things and send it out to us. And if we have any questions, we can bring it back next month.
So we're voting on the whole thing?
Yep.
We can change the dates if we have to.
Sure we can.
As it comes up, right?
Exactly.
Like, 'cause sometimes we just change dates or locations when we need to because stuff comes up.
It works. All
It
right,
happens.
all those.
Is there a motion?
Is there a motion?
I'll make a motion that we accept this schedule as presented and changed by our scribe here, July 13th for PVRS with that addition, and the changes of the location, October 26th to Warwick and November 16th to Northfield Elementary.
Okay.
Jim.
Jim,
Okay, thank you.
all those in favor of our meeting schedule? 1, 2, 3. Okay. Opposed? Abstained? Okay, just one opposition. All right.
Before you go
So the
on,
last
can
thing we
I-
really have to do-
While we're still under new business, can I just ask for a clarification?
You may.
We've got to get this approved
So
since the
this-
last drop dead date.
Where?
This budget,
Mm-hmm.
this is a 3.4% increase that's listed on this budget comparison.
Okay.
But this can't be the most recent budget. But before we go studying it, we need the most recent document.
Look at it. Pam pulled it up.
I didn't bring it with me. No, I'm with it. Unless I'm doing it now.
Yeah. 461. This is not the right budget. It's not the right one. Pam must have printed out the wrong one. I'll get the correct one to you.
So that was the incorrect budget.
Yeah, it
and
wasn't the last
And the
one.
correct one will be given to us?
I'll email it to you.
Okay.
Honestly, James, are you awake out there? You let me down.
All right.
Last thing, we have to do this.
Okay, that's not on here.
Yeah, it is right here.
Okay, but we're not gonna, we're gonna do these two.
What? There was nothing else.
Principals, administrators. And then we'll
I
go to that. Okay, we have some principals here that have given up their night to spend it with us. So maybe we can start with our hostess this evening, even though it's not in her spot. And you can just tell us quickly, 3 minutes or less.
I can do that.
Okay.
Good evening, welcome to Leiden. So Pearl Roads Elementary School has had an exciting past few weeks. We have, first of all, our 5th and 6th graders, led by Ms. Armstrong, who's still here, will be taking their K5C Camps field trip next week, which is super exciting. We have our field day coming up in June, so we're very excited for that, led by Ms. Scott. We just had our concert here at Town Hall last night, led by Ms. Nessheim. We also have our upcoming band concert with Ms. Snedeker. On top of that, I know that it's been a while since we've gotten to speak, but we actually said goodbye to our STA AmeriCorps volunteers several weeks ago. At this point, I think we're months ago now. But they actually did some great programs, including some after-school work with our students, which was really exciting. So sure there's many things that I'm missing, but in the interest of quickness, thank you for coming. It's great to see everyone up there in Latin.
Thanks. How about Sped? We're going to work this way. Chris. Great, okay. Pioneer.
So I want to share some wonderful news from Pioneer. My colleagues will hold these up. But both our high school and middle school bands participated in the annual micro competition, which is the music, Massachusetts Instrumental and Choral Conductors Association competition, and our middle school band, they're deliberating, they get an bronze plaque, and our high school band earned an excellent rating because they're all over the year. So congratulations all. I know many of you attended Hops concert, some of you at least attended the wonderful Hops concert that we had, which was about our chorus and our band and a number of solo artists, and it was an extremely positive and amazing community event. I'm so impressed with the talent of our students every time they perform. So that was a great event in the last week. We had our prom, which went well. Everybody was safe and happy. Graduation we're preparing for. Tomorrow is going to be a career day for our 10th graders. We have several different speakers from different types of careers coming, and our 10th graders will have the opportunity to interact closely with them. So that's part of our career development education initiative that we've been working on this year. We've also had the 6th graders up from the elementary schools to visit us. We did it a little differently this year. We had interactive programs in our shop, and our arts, and our music, and our theater, in our foods program. They all did nice interactive activities with the students, and the students, I think, left really excited. I've been able to go down so far and visit the students in their home school in Bernardston, and I'm hoping to get out to all the schools to meet the students there and get them comfortable with us, and invite them to be part of some programming for rising 7th graders we're planning for the summer. And then finally, I know that it's been a difficult year at Pioneer, but I wanted to assure you that I've been meeting with students and with parents and with faculty, and we had a very positive parent meeting last week in which parents really came, by the end of the meeting, they had a lot of questions about budget and the changes at Pioneer, and I answered them honestly and truthfully, so that I think I have a better understanding of the realities of the situation rather than just listening to all the rumors that are flying around. And we ended the meeting on a very positive note with people volunteering to be part of working with us as the administration in Pioneer to help the community understand all the good things that are and continue to happen at Pioneer, and that the negative narratives which we've heard over the past few months are not the only narratives, and that the positive narratives that what we have to offer at Pioneer really need to find their voice and let the community know all the good things that are happening there for the children and all the good things that will be happening as we move into the future.
Thanks.
I have a question.
I think it starts around like 9 or 10 in the morning. It'll be in the morning.
You want to ask her a question?
Question. Jean, I have a question. How many parents would you say were at that meeting?
There were probably about 50 parents, 40 to 50 parents.
Great.
Nice. Okay, Bob?
Thank you.
I heard good things last week.
So we had our concert at Bernardston Elementary Monday night, and was well attended. That was the Uppers concert. Tuesday afternoon, we had our primary concert. Today was the grade 5 and 6 science fair. There were a lot of field trips happening. Grade 3 and 4 last week went to the Ecotarium in Worcester. Coming up in June, grade 5 is going to Connecticut Science Museum. Grade 6, their trip to Boston. And then June 20th, we have our graduation at 5 p.m. and folks are invited. And it's just a run for the roses as usual with the month to go.
Thanks. Do you have nothing different
I
from you?
have something that the administrative team of the district, with Ruth's initiation, just finished our Leading Together training, which is led by Chip Wood, who many of you know started the Greenfield Center School and the Responsive Classroom and has been a public educator for many years.
as well as private. And he works now for the Center of Courage and Renewal based out of Wellesley College. And all year long, we've been working together in this training to work together, make decisions together, listen to each other, discuss. So I just thought that was important. We just finished that up this week.
Thanks.
How was it?
Great.
And I just want to say, I appreciated that, the time we spent together with Chip. I think it really was very good for all of us. At Warwick, things like you've heard from the other elementary schools, we're getting ready for our field day. We just did our last MCAS today. We've got concerts and graduations and things of all sorts of celebrations going on. We have more per capita celebrations than most schools. And I want to, however, tonight just commend my teachers to you, because this has been a challenging year, because they have all except for my 6th grade teachers have taught up a year. That is to say, they took on a new grade level this year, even as they continue to teach 2 grade levels, even as we had an event that could have been really a body blow to our year. We are ending very positively with good spirits from the kids and a tired, but I think, time around in Warwick. And I just want to say how much I, as an administrator, appreciate working with the people that I get to work with up in Warwick. And the other thing I want to talk about very briefly is the STEAM initiative that a team of us worked together, going to Worcester Polytechnic Institute to develop a strategic plan for our district. And this was a truly extraordinary opportunity. I have to say how grateful I am to have had this opportunity to work with the teachers. We had teachers from every school participating in this, and I have to commend Mary Lyde, who did an outstanding job as our coordinator. I have to thank Ruth, who researched and found this opportunity and created the grant and submitted it for us to go, because I really think this is an exciting thing for our district. We were given this, I almost showed it to you upside down, this certificate to celebrate our participation in it. And I thank those of you who were able to come to our presentation a couple of weeks ago, where we tried to lay out, or we did lay out our strategic plan. And if any of those people would like to share any of their thoughts on the challenges that we presented and the ideas that we had, that would be so wonderful.
It was wonderful. It was so nice to come and see those teachers and administrators, enthusiastic, knowledgeable. I did fail the marshmallow test. I'll have to admit that. But I was very glad to learn about it. Thank you all for doing it.
Well, we're excited about it. The team is very excited about it, and I think it's going to be a wonderful, energizing, innovative path forward for our district with these STEAM areas.
I just wanted to say, I was there, it was really impressive. The faculty presentation was really impressive. Seeing a group of faculty from across the school working together and from across disciplines was really exciting. And one of the things that really stuck with me was the connection that the faculty made to the core values of the district and how they could see how they fit so well with STEAM. My only sad moment was I thought, I would love for all of you to still stay as a group somehow. You know, because you were saying the group will disband now that you've completed the school. I was wondering, maybe that group should meet once in a while to say, in your building, how's it going? In your building,
There
how's it going?
actually is a plan to
Are
keep
they
them
gonna do
together.
that?
Oh,
Okay.
yeah.
Okay.
We'll
'Cause that was
provide
such a
time
great-
for them.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're not going to separate, no way.
Thanks, Ruth.
Well, you're welcome. It was a great program.
Could you give like a 2-second synopsis to some people in the audience who might not know what it is?
I don't like this back.
Know what?
STEAM.
What STEAM is.
Science, technology, engineering, arts, and math. And it's about teaching, and this is my take, okay? Actually teaching creativity and innovation. And as we have taught with our new standards and continue to teach, these individual skills and sets of knowledge, but how they come together and how one uses an engineering design process to cultivate, nurture creativity and innovation, even as you're learning the specific skills and standards and knowledge for each of these areas.
Eloquently put, thank you.
That was great.
It's very exciting.
I just wanted to say that I was at the presentation and I was thrilled for the students. I'm thrilled for the teachers. I saw excitement, joy, and a real yearning to put this forward with the kids. And Ruth, I thank you for finding that, getting that. I think it's going to be a great thing for all the children in our district. So I applaud you all.
Okay. Moving on to subcommittee reports.
I'm sorry.
All right.
So can I just give an athletic update?
You may.
So very quickly, I'm Gina Johnson, the athletic director at Pioneer Valley Regional School, and I was having a conversation with one of my coaches today, a middle school coach of all people, and we were commenting how the majority of our teams, and I just went through 9 of our 12 varsity teams went to tournament this year. That is really, really exciting. We had a really great conversation about how things are really moving in the right direction and how positive it's been. Softball is going, we'll find out next week. Baseball, for the first time, I think it's been 3 years since they've gone to tournament. And if you haven't gone to a baseball game, it is absolutely hysterical. They do the funniest things, get them on the sideline, all in good humor. The Mohawk game that we had last week, we had a rain delay, lightning delay. Of course, it's lightning out, so they did not get off the field. But instead, both teams gathered together and played a game together. So it was really, really cool, great sportsmanship, and I really appreciated that. We had 6 athletes competing this Saturday at Westfield State University in the Central West Division II track championships. So that's very exciting. We have 6 boys going down competing in the pole vaults, javelin, discus, long jump, triple jump. So athletics, it's like so much fun to see them out there and playing, and the number of athletes that we have on the team, it's really amazing. So I just want to give you that.
And as we're applauding athletics, Mr. Bell down there, as a school committee member, is our pole vaulting coach, along with various other little goodies that he does. And I wasn't going to say that. The bald head coach, no. And also, if people had read the paper today, it was a big half-page spread on Jim and his poetry, which I think we did not realize that he wrote long and lean poetry, and it was wonderful to read, and thank you, Jim.
One of my books, you'll find out.
Okay, where can we purchase such books? Please, come on. You got to tell us.
Thank you.
Where can we purchase them?
I haven't been to World Out yet. You can get them from me.
Okay. All right, if you want a book, you know where to get. All right, so that brings us to subcommittee reports. Bill, policy.
So we've been, I think, last time we met with Gina Johnson. We went over the final touches on the athletic handbook. The administrators were going to finish up their individual books for the next meeting and handbooks, and we voted to recommend the English language learner handbook for a first reading for the committee tonight. For next time, we should have all of them.
All right.
And
That's it? Okay, do you want to read us through that?
No, just, it's really boilerplate, it's the way it has to be for the state, it's something that's necessary, so.
Was that included in our package?
It is included in your
Okay.
packet.
Well, first reading, can we go to the next one?
I think it's a drop dead date. Are you sure? Okay, so
should have
first
all
reading,
time.
and then, but we have to approve it for next reading.
Okay, so this is your reading material for the next few weeks.
Yes, ma'am.
All right, so when we come back, we will vote on that. Excuse me? It's a sped. It's a sped.
ELL.
ELL,
English
Language
language
Learner.
I can read, I understood what I said, but just,
We also had a subcommittee meeting tonight, which our chair, which is David, was not able to attend, but it was the consensus of the subcommittee, and I don't have my papers with me. The Building and Grounds Subcommittee, that we put forth to this committee the proposal or the recommendation to move the central office into the guidance suite. And we were questioning where the guidance office would go, and Gail tells us that that is a work in progress, and she will be working with the guidance people to decide where to go.
Jean's doing it.
Jean is working.
She's gone, but
Yeah.
Jean will be working with the guidance people to decide where that might go.
that was a contingency.
Yeah, it was, right. So, yes, Robin?
Also personnel and curriculum. Met on Monday.
That's right.
Oh, that's right.
Would you like to speak on
So
that?
the
Like a
Personnel
long
and
time ago.
Curriculum Committee met on Monday.
Yes, that is
We
not down there.
set ourselves a very, very long agenda for an upcoming meeting, but we did discuss the virtual high school. We looked at the numbers of students that have expressed interest in taking virtual high school classes, and we felt as a committee that obviously we have a number of kids that are really excited about this opportunity. We recommended as a group that we do approve the virtual high school and let those kids try it out. And we are asking that the group report to all of us that how it's going at 2 points during the school year next year.
So it's basically a pilot,
Yeah.
right? And they'll report in November and March.
Well,
And that was
I
the-
thought that was contingent on getting the number of how much it's gonna cost us to do
No,
that.
we already know how much it's gonna cost us.
How much is it gonna cost us?
Well, it was in the paperwork.
It was in the paperwork.
No, it wasn't. The
$5,000
final
and
figure
left.
we never got.
That was not part of the
$5,000.
motion.
The final figure we never got. There's Karen.
So, in my original budget, way back in, I don't know, when did I present?
January?
December, something like that. I had $5,000 for VHS and Edgenuity, not knowing how many kids would be interested. I just kind of put a figure in it. At that time, when I did that, when we were at the subcommittee meeting, there was a lot of positive reaction to that, and some people wanted me to put more money in it. So I went back and reassessed my budget, and since January is too early, I've been working with internet service providers, and I can save some money. I think that $5,000 for VHS and $1,500 for Edgenuity would cover it. I have to tell you though, even now, students are coming up and wanting to sign up for it. So I have the money in my budget to say go to $5,000 for VHS, $1,500 for Edgenuity, and that's what I would ask. And it would all come out, I would be shifting some funds that I would be saving from the internet service providers and the E-rate that we're gonna get.
Yes, and we did ask for the figure, but that was not part of the motion.
It wasn't perfect because I don't know, so, you know, it's up to like with the 2 or so more kids, it was like $4,200 for VHS. Edgenuity is probably gonna cost us $1,500, same as last year. But I would like to reserve $5,000 for VHS for a few more students to sign up, if they're interested. I mean, the kids are coming, they're very interested in these classes. So, you know, we can do it or we can say no, you know, doesn't matter, so.
Okay. Well, did that need to be made a motion, or we're
So
just
do-
going to make a proposal?
I'm unclear on this, that I know that it passed in the subcommittee. Do we need to bring that same approval
I would
to the
imagine
whole
that we
committee?
would.
Yeah, you do.
So
you
my
need to
motion, I'm
make a
gonna make a
motion.
motion that the whole committee approve what the subcommittee recommends, which is that we pilot the VHS and Edgenuity programs at the high school with report from faculty, staff, and students, and parents if they have information for us about how it's going in November and March.
Okay. All right. Is there a second?
I second it.
All those in favor?
Do we have discussion?
Not unless they need
Gentleman
it.
has a comment.
Yes.
Just a quick question, how many students did that 5,000?
Oh, I gave them figures the other night.
There were 19 as of the other night
I'm going to say
in
20.
VHS.
Yeah, well, that's well, yeah, that's, well, 15 courses a semester. 15 sections a semester.
And it was, as of Monday night, 19 students had expressed interest. And Karen is just saying 2 more, so that would bring us up to 21.
Okay, I think at one of the meetings prior, I think she had a maximum of 25, is that what I thought you said?
That was her estimate, yes.
Again, in the count,
Thanks for all the hits.
so I can't say that that's 19 or 21 students, because one student there may have been taking a spring seat and a fall seat. Okay, so we have 15 seats, essentially 15 seats a semester.
All right, so there's a motion and a second on the floor. Is there a second?
Yes, Martha.
I already
seconded.
Martha
seconded
made
it.
it, okay. All those in favor of a pilot program? 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. Abstaining? Against it? Are you abstaining? Okay. Sharon's abstaining. Tony, you had your hand up at one point when we were back there on
Guidance.
Yes.
I didn't want to blow you off. I just wanted to get your input.
My name is Tony Mateo. I worked for Pioneer for 30 years, half in math, half in guidance. And I think moving the guidance office out of the center of the school, the heart of the school, is a very bad idea for several reasons. We're talking about, well, we'll figure out where they go. Fine. The guidance office is really the hub of the school. Everything goes through there. The schedules go through there. Grades go through there. I mean, it's the center, and of course we have college, career, all that kind of stuff goes through there. Where would you put it? Up on the second floor somewhere? These are things that I've heard possibilities of. Or maybe down in the senior lounge, down below where the old cafeteria used to be. You need offices for private conversations with students. So that has to be taken into account. Where are those going to be? We have all the files. You go in the secretary's office, there's probably 10, 12 different file cabinets, all permanent records that are legal documents. Where are we going to put those? The one thing down, if it was down in the senior lobby, you have the secretary always is dealing with confidential stuff. She's dealing with grades. She's dealing with recommendations. We're going to have people just kind of wandering around when she's trying to deal with some of these things. I don't think that's a very good idea. It's come down to the last minute, obviously, because superintendent's office has to move. But I can think of at least one alternative. I don't know if it's been discussed at all. One of the things the superintendent's office would like to have is a kind of a sort of a separate entrance where people can come and go. I hate to say this for my special needs people, but there is a special needs office in the junior high section, which has an entryway right there. No problem as far as getting in there. It is as big, if not bigger, than the guidance suite. Just a thought, I don't know if it's even been talked about, and I certainly don't want to push our special needs people out of any place either. But I certainly do not think that the guidance ought to be displaced for the superintendent. Now, we've come down to this at the end because they got to move out. Is this expedient? It's the lifeblood of the school. It's got to be in the middle of the school. It's got to be there available to the students, to the teachers. I think it's a hugely bad idea to move the guidance department to some unspecified spot. The reason I got was, well, it won't cost us to do anything. It won't cost the school anything to move the superintendent's office into the school, which is wonderful. But it's going to cost you something to have a secure facility for the guidance, to have rooms where the guidance counselors can talk with students. We can have meetings, when you can have college meetings, etc. You got to have a secure place for all the files that are there. They're legal documents. Got to keep permanent records for, what is it, 50 years, something like that. This guidance secretary has to move, has to consult with those all the time, and with the counselors. Putting them somewhere, you know, kind of separate, as yet to be determined, is not a good idea. That's all I'm going to say.
Tony, thanks. I think that we've grappled with this for 6 months, and it's been difficult, and I don't know what to say. I think nobody's happy. And Robin?
I'm sorry, did you say when the next building and grounds subcommittee meeting?
There is a building and ground
Tuesday at 6.
At Pioneer.
Buildings and grounds.
Tuesday at 6, where?
Pioneer.
Be there.
And
Might be a better place to address
Everett
it.
Masters conference room, correct?
Yeah. I think that's
Can
what-
we ask Pam to let all of us know when the subcommittee meetings are? Like, I didn't know there was a CNP.
That's a good idea.
And
Just to
in
do a
case we'd
blanket.
like to.
Let Pam know,
Yeah.
Pam send meeting notices on the subcommittees to everybody.
Oh, to
And
everybody?
and not just the subcommittee members.
Okay.
And then if anybody wants to cross over, they can do it.
Okay.
All right, what is the GASB?
Excuse me, I have a question.
Yes?
Barbara Solis, now that the curriculum committee is meeting again after hiatus of 2 years, what are your plans for a regular meeting from here on in?
We have not set plans for a regular meeting schedule. We have another meeting set, but at the last meeting, we did not make a year-long schedule yet.
When is your next meeting?
Our next meeting is June 5th.
5th,
5th.
at Pioneer.
And hopefully you will come out with a meeting that will be monthly.
We will see.
What time?
7.
I don't think we'll see as good.
I can't tell you what I'm gonna, it's not on our agenda for next meeting.
It's not on your agenda?
At this time, it is not.
Okay, all right, just wanted to know how serious you really are about this.
In the past, we have only had subcommittee meetings as needed, so it's hard to set an agenda, but as we need them, we'll make sure that we have them.
The curriculum committee has a lot of making up to do. This
I know.
has been 2 years.
I know.
And there are a lot of things that are affecting next year.
Exactly, and we are,
It's a very important thing that needs to be done.
those things are being
And
addressed.
so it's not good to be vague.
Yes, Claire?
Can I switch back to the other topic? I received an email today with several attachments in regards to the modules that were out back, and that there was going to be a discussion actually about reusing those again.
That happened at the subcommittee meeting, and it was just information, basically. David?
I would like to point out that Tuesday's Building and Grounds Subcommittee meeting does not have Superintendent's office on the agenda. And that agenda had to be posted by 6 o'clock today, and it's been posted.
All right, so would you lead us to the
Well,
next?
this is just the report about your long-term liabilities with regard to retiree health and pensions. This is available to you. It's pretty dry reading. We have to ultimately, once we get our finances in order, I think we should start a trust to start being able to cover some of this money. But we're really not at that point now, but I can get you a copy of this if you want to read it. It's just, I mean, the magnitude of the money we owe or are going to owe.
I think we
Oh,
all
you
have-
have,
I
just
think
didn't
we
get a
all
hard
have
copy?
it, yeah.
Yeah, so I think it's worth it, and if you have any questions, give me a call. I don't think we can address it right now, but I'd love to see if we could do something, at least start a fund next year maybe, but that's got to be in the plan of the whole financial thing.
David, you had your hand raised?
Yeah, we certainly have the option to wait till June as a committee to decide where to move the central office, but it is not on the Building and Grounds Tuesday meeting schedule, and we just heard a recommendation that was characterized as consensual to move to the guidance office. Would a motion be in order?
That,
did you do this?
I thought we took a motion.
Well, we didn't vote.
We didn't vote.
We didn't vote.
If that's a recommendation, we should vote.
Yeah.
All right,
Did we vote?
I thought we did.
No, we didn't vote.
Yeah, right. Jack?
No, there was, for.
Hold on.
Said there was a subcommittee meeting tonight of the Building and Grounds Committee, and the, recommendation was that the central office would move into the guidance suite, who will relocate following, working with Jean, as to where they're moving, but there was no motion following that
Okay.
discussion.
That's my motion.
Thank you. Is there a second?
Pardon me?
I'm sorry, what was your motion?
My motion is that we move it to the guidance office.
Sweet.
I second it. Discussion by committee.
That was, Martha was the second?
Yes.
At the Building and Grounds, the meeting prior, or earlier, the recommendation there, the motion there, I believe, was contingent upon finding a suitable guidance.
I can agree to that.
But the general, by everybody there, the meeting earlier, there was a realization that it really had to move back into the Pioneer building facility, and that there was still work to do to find a suitable fit for everybody that had to shuffle around, because nobody's happy with it.
So how do we add that to the motion?
I'm agreeable.
David just did.
Okay. Okay, I'll second that.
Any other discussion by committee? One last thing, because we want to get out of here.
It does not, you also included 2 more rooms besides the guidance.
The NCTV and the.
Right, the ones for special ed right next door.
So keep that in the motion, I believe, or else.
I'd like to include that in the motion with the second.
I agree.
What are those
are those rooms?
BNCTV isn't one of them, and there's a table or meeting room right next to the keyboard.
No, it's the adjustment
Office
coordinator.
room now?
It's the
Oh,
adjustment
sorry.
counselor's office.
All right, there's a motion and a second on the floor.
Can we be, I'm still not clear
All right.
on what all was included. I've got the guidance suite, the NCTV.
School adjustment counselor's office.
That's it.
Contingent on finding a
Suitable spot.
Suitable relocation.
Exactly. All right, all those,
How who determines suitable, like,
it's up to the administration. That's, and the guidance department working in conjunction with each other. Let's vote on this and then, all those in favor?
no, this is.
No. I think we've had a lot of discussion tonight, and I think we've heard a lot, and
Consideration for the fact that that's dedicated to Donna Cadwell, that Donna Cadwell
That's been-
guidance, who was a former guidance counselor, she was my guidance counselor as a student. Is there any consideration to how disrespectful that is to that memory of that person?
Please do not displace
That
direct
was-
student services with administrative functions. That's what I would say. It's terrible precedent.
The guidance department will still exist.
It's a terrible precedent of our priorities for this country.
Sharon?
In regards to Gina's statement about the space being dedicated to Donna Cadwell, I brought that up. And it was said that it can be any room. And the plaque could be moved.
That's really great.
So the motion is still on the floor. All those in favor of that motion? What did you say? The motion is still on the floor. All those in favor of David's motion?
Okay, to move the superintendent's suite or offices to the guidance suite, PNCPD, the school adjustment counselor, contingent on finding a suitable relocation sites for those spaces.
All those in favor of his motion? Okay, opposed? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, the motion fails.
Parking lot are you going to use?
Yeah. Kathy?
In light of the fact that Tuesday night's agenda is already prescribed with other
Posted.
things to talk
It
about,
has to be posted.
and then we are running out of time. Is it possible for the Building and Grounds Committee to meet one more time after Tuesday where this item is the only item? And where anybody else might want to come to that meeting and offer one more look at something, because
That's what happened tonight, is we had one agenda item and anybody could come, and I didn't see anybody, and we have been racking our brain at trying to come up with something. So it's up to David. He's the subcommittee chair. I was there working tonight because he wasn't available. Yes, I see.
5:30 is a pretty hard time for anybody to get to a meeting.
That's
and
true.
We're there.
I agree,
I agree too.
but I was there.
I was there too. All right, I think we will get together again to have to hash out where we go, because we don't really want to pitch a tent. So I would I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
Say adjourn?
I did.
I have, how do we call it? Old business, or wait a minute.
It's
No, it's called other business.
If you can make it about 3 minutes, because we've had a lot of discussion
Sure.
today.
Better not be,
I think it's
said he
all-
was going to critique me.
We've had a discussion tonight dealing with evaluations.
there are employment decisions to be made. The next regularly scheduled meeting is at the 22 June. I would ask the committee to keep an open mind about meeting earlier and more often than that. There are, as they say, employment decisions that can affect curriculum, personnel potentially. A lot of the staff that got things slipped, they've got decisions that they make. Leave them hanging is not the best situation from my perspective. Ruth, I would ask you to, you're obviously going to want to respond to the evaluation, and I would ask you to do that expeditiously. Employment decisions, as I understand it, correct me if I'm wrong, Counsel, they can be made independent of the evaluation procedure. Is that correct? Ideally, it would include responses to the evaluation procedure, but it's not a requirement. Is that right?
Sure.
Okay. So I would ask that everybody be willing to do a little bit extra in June. Thank you very much.
That was the last thing that I was going to ask for.
When is policy? Bill, do you know if it's up there?
Policy meeting, Bill, do you have?
June 6th at 4:30.
June 6th.
June 6th at 4:30. I know, so it's failed, so. We had a motion to adjourn, but I would like to back up if that's okay, because I completely forgot to read my notes. We need to set a date for early June to vote to go into negotiations with Ruth.
You actually don't have to vote that until the end of June.
I would like not to leave it to the end, just because I know some of the committee members are not going to be around the end of June. So I had rather do it earlier rather than later. I'd like to make sure that all the committee members are here.
June 15th.
But do you want to do a couple dates? So if you want to bounce it off anybody or anything, or?
Well, yeah, I'll have Mike along with me, so I don't.
Okay. Do you want
I'm gonna have to find
set
some
a couple
dates.
dates, and then you can decide what would work for him?
Yep.
Would that work? So what are your suggestions? You've got a calendar. I don't have one in front of me.
Excuse me, Pat.
Yes.
Isn't Ruth getting back to us on the evaluation?
Negotiate.
I would think so, yes.
And I would think that a contract negotiation would not be appropriate before she gets back to us on the evaluation, because that all has to be taken into consideration.
Is that true?
Ruth is getting back to us on the evaluation, and I would think that all of that needs to be taken into consideration for a contract negotiation.
Yeah, you certainly could use that as
She's trying to talk about
a guide.
It's more information for the negotiating committee.
Yep.
I think she's asking if we have to or should.
You don't have to. I mean, you can use that as something to consider for sure. Committee.
So we need to figure out what people want. Do we want to have a meeting on, do you have a couple dates and we can check out and we can?
Are we going to have a meeting to discuss the evaluation or response?
What? That's what we've got to decide. Do we want to have a meeting to discuss the evaluation and then have the vote at a later meeting, or do we want to have one in the same, or how do we want to proceed? Because we've done one part of our job, but we need to figure out what follows and what's everybody's desire on when we have meetings and what we discuss when.
Would the feedback from Ruth obviously should come before we get together and discuss the evaluation, or not?
Now,
what is
You
the
mean
thought?
to discuss
the response?
contract?
Right. Now,
No, the response to the evaluation, which
Now,
Ruth will be doing.
Right, now
Does
that,
this need to come before we talk about it as a committee? That's what I'm asking.
and does that come Do you speak to us on that, or do you send that to us via
And
email?
Both, probably.
Okay.
So that could all be done at the same, that would be included, your response to us would be included in this next meeting.
Well, that's what
what
we're
you're
trying to decide. Do we,
I think that makes sense.
Can Ruth, can you have that response to us within a week?
Probably 2 weeks.
So this is the
today's the 25th.
26th, so that would be.
Would be that
Then
week
you
you were
could do it,
talking about.
you could do it actually June 8th or June 15th. That's 2 weeks.
Want to bounce those 2 dates and see whether those are available?
Yeah, I'll just run them by, I'll let you know.
Yeah, that would be great. And then, but we need to know what's going to be on that agenda. So what are people thinking? Are we going
Whether or
to,
not to enter into negotiations.
are we going to enter into negotiations at that point? Or are we going to discuss her evaluation at that point?
Well, if it's the negotiation subcommittee, I would say it's negotiations.
Well, no, I meant a vote to authorize the
Authorize
negotiations
negotiations.
subcommittee
We aren't
to
going to
start
negotiate.
You can't do that till we complete the evaluation process.
Right.
Bear in mind,
Discuss.
contractually, the evaluation process and the decision are not connected.
No, exactly. So let's meet, we've given Ruth the dates of the 8th or the 15th. She's going to try to get in connection with her attorney. And because it's her right to do that, and she really needs to.
Yeah.
And then we will figure out what date will work, and we will have a meeting at that point, if I'm correct, to discuss the evaluation and to also vote to enter into negotiations
Whether we want to.
to continue her contract. Does that make sense to everybody?
Negotiate a contract.
Right. We will not be negotiating it, we will
No.
be entering into, yeah, enter into discussions on a new contract.
Discussion whether to
Right.
Yeah.
All right. Does anyone want to make that motion? Is that right, or?
Well, you may also want to talk about what the parameters
Yeah.
would be. In that, if you're voting to go into contract negotiations, you probably want an executive session, talk about the parameters of what you would offer.
Okay. So we need to, also on that agenda, would you like to say that one more time, because you say
I said,
it
you
much better.
probably, you'd want to vote that you were going to offer a contract, and the parameters of what that would be would sort of be in the same executive session. So whenever you negotiate the contract, someone has to have guidance on what you would.
Okay.
So you have to be there.
Not necessarily, but.
All right, so I'm waiting for a motion.
Madam Chairman, I'd just like to remind the committee that none of the towns can afford to pay the salaries of 2 superintendents.
Isn't that the truth?
So keep that in mind.
We already have.
All right, I'm looking for a motion.
So, Pat, you want a motion on the meeting plan?
Yes,
Okay.
just the meeting plan.
I'll make a motion that the school committee will meet on either the 8th or the 15th, depending on what's convenient for Ruth and her lawyer, to hear and discuss feedback on the evaluation process thus far, and to take next steps related to the contract.
That sounds,
Is that enough?
that's good.
I'll second.
All right. All those in favor of those meeting dates and what that will happen?
Aye.
Looks unanimous.
So
I didn't see you, David. Were you up or not? I really didn't even look there.
Wake up, David.
the main part of the meeting would be
So
an
the meeting
open
passes.
session, and then we would go into.
I think it all is
That'd be
open
a-
session.
They'd all be executive.
No, I think it's all open
Discussions
session.
with the superintendent about,
Oh, yeah, mine,
you know, those would be.
Pat, can you have people raise their hands for that vote, please? 'Cause
Hands
is
raised?
that unanimous?
Yes, it was.
Thank you.
Is it, wouldn't it all be in open session?
strategy with respect to negotiations.
No, that would be, but her talking about evaluations, and, I mean, us speaking to her about her evaluation, and a vote to enter into negotiation would all be open session.
Negotiations with
I need a motion to adjourn.
Second.
All those in favor?